working on the siding and the trim today. Kind of some unique products that, I decided to use on this house here. The siding itself, is a cedar, shake material, but it comes in panels to help them put together. We're also using some PVC trim on here by the shoreline. It's real important to worry about the salt and, protecting the woods and doing all that. So let me show you some of that product and show you how it goes up. It's kind of unique. The unique part about this siding is that it's real wood, individual shakes, but they are connected together to speed the installation method and make sure it always is that same spacing. So what they do is they put these little rubber bumpers in between each one and a little bit of glue on the top for spacers on there. But it's neat that you can put it up. You can order it either natural or just primed or pre-finished. In my case, I decided to get it pre-finished. But the main reason I got it was right on the back. These grooves right here allows air movement in the back and allows it to dry out. The worst thing is to do is take a real wood material and put it against something where there's water trapped behind it and it doesn't breathe. It's going to rot, decay, do other things. Your paint will come off. But with this unique system, how they have their strips, how they have their spacers, makes for a quick panel. Another thing different about this panel is normally when we install it, we'll put a ledger board across the bottom, nice and level. We put each individual shake on there and then nail it in. On this particular one, we go across the top because it's parallel cut, the bottom and the top. So we'll snap a line on the top of the panel, knowing what our exposure is going to be. In this case, we're doing 6.5 inch exposure. And so then we put the panel on, and that really speeds the process. So we don't have to worry about, filling in nail holes on that little ledger board that you put on there, or straight edge, or marring the finish. We only really work on the top. So again, seems like a great product. It's going up pretty quick compared to individual shake, but yet we get that real wood, that I was looking for on here. But this little breathing strip in the back really is a unique process. So what we're doing is we're putting the panels on right now. And, typically with cedar siding, we like to do a double undercourse, that first starting course underneath there, and then stagger the joints so we don't get any water in there. But it's unique in this panel process that, again, if we had a straight wall, we go very quick. But on inside corners and outside corners, it takes a little bit longer to accomplish that. So what we do right now is we'll just put on a panel that's longer than we need. We cut it off roughly to the size. And on mine, you can see that we're doing woven corners over here. What we do is we alternate how we're actually doing each corner. And the idea with this is so we keep the water out. If you did a bevel or a 45, it would open up over time, water would come in on here. I could have done a corner board and they could have gone square to it, but I just like the look of this right here. And here we got Louis over here, he's cutting one, and you'll see. What we'll do, again, we'll alternate depending on the course that was below it, how we'll do on there. So again, we'll just cut it roughly to shape, and then a lot of times we'll just take a little block plane and, clean up that edge. And then we always have to hit it with some way to seal it. In our case, since ours is, pre-finished on here, that we'll just put some paint on that edge. I'll probably go back later with a real brush and get it, but this is sealing it now to make sure we don't have any problems. This product, to me, is great. I forgot to mention the name on here. It's actually called the EcoShell, and they're out of Portland, Maine. That is where their corporate office is, and they have another manufacturing facility up in northern Maine, but they do some of the finishing and their corporate office there. I happened to see them at one of the trade shows. Journal Light Construction had a trade show in the spring in Providence. I happened to see it there and talked about the benefits. But the main thing is, I really want this house to breathe. We went through all the effort to make sure we use vapor permeable materials and everything else. If there's moisture in there, the last thing I want to do is have it trapped in here. So the idea with those grooves or that little buildup on the back, the way they go, that really allows it to breathe underneath. And then with the longer panels, I think they're roughly 4 feet or so, they go in very quickly. If we just look over here, we can see here's a straight wall, without any interruptions or corners. This went fairly fast. when we're doing inside corners, outside corners, other things that require a little more, finesse, well, that takes longer. But it really gives a nice look, You can see on a straight run, again, without any interruptions, we can really cover a lot of territory quickly. And to be more efficient, it's kind of like some of the trim we waited until we set up the staging for doing. We with soffits and fascias and some of that trim, we're kind of doing that same process as we go. We got our staging set up, we're moving forward, everything else. On the color, pick this gold yellow color here. Well, it seems like we're surrounded by gray homes around here, so that kind of negated that color. So looking at a nice New England warm color, this seems to be very welcoming and nice. My wife really loves it, so continuing on with that. But this pre-finished system really makes it so much easier and quicker to install. Another unique thing about these panels is the numbering system. What it actually is they just put on a numbering system on top, so when I go to put a panel, I can put it on and keep my offsets right. The last thing you want to do is have a seam over top of a seam or a repeating pattern. So the idea is, here's just kind of a ruler for me, so if I always go to 12 or 36 or something, I put another panel on and I work across. And as you can see, here's where we snap the lines for the top of the courses, not necessarily the bottom, where most people would either snap a line across the bottom or put that little board on there to be able to do it. So this really speeds up, again, the process. We look at things just a little differently in doing that. The other thing different that we did with this home versus a lot of people that put that exterior rigid insulation, again, just to rehash, we have 2 layers of 2-inch, so roughly 4 inches of insulation, staggered under here. But since we're doing a siding, we need a solid surface for nailing when we do a shake siding. So we actually cover that insulation with plywood. Now we have a continuous surface. If I was doing clapboards or some kind of other horizontal siding, I may have just done vertical strips instead of solid surface, like the plywood, because now I have a nailing surface on there. But again, with shake, we change the courses, we change the pattern, so you really want to have that continuous nailing surface on the back. And again, with that system, and then we put the Tyvek or house wrap on the outside. I picked this because I just want a very vapor permeable. It had a very high perms there for allow that moisture that may be inside to get out. And it also is my rain screen on here. Between what we have, referring back to the other episode, we have quite the buildup inside that wall cavity of fully adhered vapor permeable membranes, to the insulation, to the plywood, to the foaming and taping all the joints. Quite the process, but again, it's all coming together now. As you can see, a great product. On the outside corners, we're doing the woven corners, and that does, is a big slowdown, but it is a classic look. It really looks nice. On inside corners, what we do is we put a block, and basically we'll just bring the siding into either way on there, and it's so much quicker to do, and it gives a finished thing. It's tough on an inside corner to either miter them or weave one over the top. It is very time consuming. On here, it almost disappears because by the time we, put one siding into one corner and one siding in, there's only just that little bit of edge of that block that we put in the corner. And I pre-painted and primed these, so again, matches all that siding color. So it just kind of disappears right in there. There's many different ways to side a home, especially with the cedar shake. In our case, we decided to start at an inside corner over here on the garage, work our way around, do the trim as we progress, and kind of learn the system. Granted, a minor corner or that woven outside corner is okay. We understand how to do that, but the whole panel and the process is kind of learning curve for everybody here. So as we're working together as a team, doing trim, doing, the siding, again, really unique product. If anybody's interested, EcoShell, they're in Portland, Maine. Again, the main thing that I bought it for was the ability to have that panel to breathe in the back. We went through all that effort to make this eco-friendly home that breathes and doesn't trap moisture, and we're going to have a long life with the product that, now we found something that really helps with keeping that air movement behind it, let the moisture going on there. Can't wait for the whole project, or you'll get to see the whole house finished here, and I think we're moving right along. If anybody has worked with a siding like this, or even conventional cedar shake siding, we'd like to hear from you. Please visit our website and give us some comments and input on there at greencomforthome.com. We really look forward to some information, and we can share back and forth your experiences and what we learned on this project. So again, thanks.